Hey everyone, it's Melody with Design by Melody. I have another layout for y'all. This is the 9th one with this kit. This one I end up titling Fourth Fun. So I start kind of with this background and I completely change it because I do not like this silver stripe paper. I tried to like it, but it's just, I don't know, it's not my cup of tea. It's just, I don't know, just so not working for me. But I got this idea to pull out my like border strips and use them for the top and the bottom of this page. And then I pull out all my LE Studio 3x4 cards and journaling cards, and I start looking through and I'm like, this would be kind of cool to do a grid pattern. And I like it, the pink and the gray cards. I'm also kind of flipping through a couple of the other ones that I have. I have a few laid out here. It's going to change. This is not the final placement of all of these cards, but I'm just kind of looking through to see what my options are. I like the subtlety of the LE Studio cards. They kind of are softer. They're a bit muted in a sense, I guess you could say. And I love the quality of these cards. I'm totally going to have to buy more. I love them. I bought a bunch of stuff in August, I think it was August. I bought a bunch of stuff and I've used probably about 70 to 75% of what I purchased already, which is a lot. And that's a really quick turnaround for me because I typically put things in my stash and use them little by little. So that's a big deal for me. That shows you I really do like it. So I start looking at this paper and I was going to use it to map my photo on, and I go, I kind of like that as a background. It's got those same muted tones as the LE Studio 3x4 cards. So I quickly change my mind since I'm not thrilled with the silver paper, and I go ahead and start layering my border strips. I already knew how I wanted those laid out because how I wanted them glued because I already had them laid out. So I have a couple kind of half pieces, so I'm putting those a bit askew and layering them just a little bit at the top and the bottom. I probably will start doing this more often. I like the end result. I think it adds a lot to the layout. And then, like I said, I like the fact that it's a bit askew. Like I've been saying for a while now, I'm a bit low on my glue runner, so I'm kind of being a bit creative with the glue that I use. I'm using my Tombow Mono multi glue here. You saw me waving to somebody. I think I was telling Kaylin to come up because I think he wanted to say hey, but I think he ends up being shy and not making a presence on this layout. Oh, there's his hand. Oh, he's showing his calculator. That's what he calls as his computer. Since we have our iPads and all that and our computers, he has a Leapfrog, which he calls his iPad. But he uses his calculator because that's his computer. And he's really kind of learning about all his numbers and letters and, starting to recognize different things. So it's kind of cute. He likes to learn. As long as it's fun, he likes to learn. I did use a piece of that silver stripe paper just to layer on my photo. I'm going to have to use up this paper. I will not throw it away because I just can't do it unless I ruin the paper accidentally, which I will not do on purpose, but I can't. I don't like it. I got to get rid of it, but I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it to get rid of it. A little bit too much of that silver paper was showing for me to be comfortable with. So I take it off and I trim it down, and then I layer it on a 6x6 piece of paper from the 6x6 paper pad. As you saw right there, the way I store my paper pads, I don't have very many 6x6 paper pads, and I just store them. I probably have 10 maybe. I store them in one of my containers in my scrapbook room. And I keep a large envelope inside. I think it's like a 5 by 5 inch by 5 inch, or 5.5 by 5.5 inch envelope in there. I cut off the flap and I just keep it tucked in the front of each of those 6x6 pads. And I put all of my scraps in there. I'm getting really creative here and using up different scraps. They were so tiny that I just had to cut them and glue them on the back. The back of this photo looks really pieced together. And it's very pieced together, but it's perfect. It was just enough. I used up a lot of my little bits of scraps here on this one. I think I used, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, think I used 6 different layers behind this photo. And then I end up adding a piece of ribbon here as well in a second. I'm using this tiny bit of a doily that I had cut off of a previous layout. I'm going to go ahead and glue these cards down. These are the basis of my layout. I pull out my quilting ruler to make sure I get this straight. And then I'm going to end up going back and embellishing these a lot. This ends up being a pretty significantly embellished page. It's very busy, especially since the background paper had some texture to it. I mean, it had a what do you call that? Had a pattern to it, so it definitely had a lot of, wow, what is my brain trying to say? A lot of busyness. Now, I had that diamond foam stuff off to the right, and it is so thick. I cannot use it on a layout. I want to say it's like 1/4 of an inch thick. It's great to use behind flare. If you have flare that don't have a back on them, but they kind of are indent behind it, it's great to use on those. Terrible to use on photos. So I end up using some more of that green foam stuff that I have that I've mentioned before. I'm just trying to use. And then I'm using a bit more of these LE Studio pieces. This was a 3x4 card that I cut up, and I'm just using the different pieces. So there's this little tab that was at the top of the journaling card, and I end up putting I'll end up putting it on the layout, and I'm going to use those squares to be my journaling spot. So the top says so many details, and then here on the journaling part, let me read it to you. It says, hanging out with the family at the 4th of July, at July 4th street festivals, drinking root beer and looking at toys. So before the fireworks were shot off, they had a street festival, and there was this, like, I think it was called the Keg, or I can't remember. But they had all different old-fashioned sodas in it, and it had its own little, like, carbonation system in it. It just looked so cute. It was just cute. So we got some old-fashioned root beer in a big tin mug, and you keep the mug and you can come back and get it refilled as many times as you want, which I don't think we ever got a refill, because by the time we walked all the way down, it was way too crowded to walk back. I'll have to tell you about this festival. This was crazy. So I'm just going to keep embellishing, and I'm going to keep talking, but you can watch. I just keep adding different things here and there, adding a bit of ribbon and so on and so forth. So this festival, so we got the sodas, we got the old-fashioned sodas, and we kind of just continued to walk down the festival. And then they had all different kinds of toys out there. They had like puppets. They had a little robot thing that was like a metal robot. It looked like a robot puppet, I guess. They had this like Lego place that was set up to where they had made all these different things that you could purchase made out of Legos. There was all different. There were like wedding cake toppers. There were ornaments for your Christmas tree. There were all different kinds of things that they had made out of Lego pieces. There was, of course, all the vendors that sold the little like blow up Batman and stuff, which is what you see. It's that yellow thing that's in front of Ernest. He's carrying Batman, which was Kaylin's Batman, and it was so crowded. So he was carrying Kaylin on his shoulders for a good part of the time. So let me tell you a bit about this festival. So we're there. We get there maybe 6 o'clock. We ate dinner at home, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we ate dinner at home, and then we went up there. We weren't really sure how crowded it was going to be, so we eventually found a parking spot because it ended up being pretty crowded. And then we're walking around. We basically just walk down Fayetteville Street, which is like the downtown street that goes straight through downtown. And it took us almost the entire time to get all the way down the street, even though it's not that long, and find a spot to look at fireworks. And by the time we did, it was almost time for the fireworks. Well, on our way down there, we come across a little girl that's lost. She's like talking, and let me tell you, I was impressed with this little girl. She was saying, she lost her grandmother. I was trying to find a police officer, but it was so crowded I couldn't find anybody. So I asked her what her grandma looked like. This girl gave me like a rundown of everything her grandmother was wearing, what she looked like, what her name was. She had been coached. I mean, honestly, truly coached on what to say if you get lost. So we pretty quickly found her grandmother because her grandmother was looking for her. So she was coming up the street as we were kind of walking down the street. And I was looking for a police officer all at the same time, but we ended up finding her grandmother first. So then we keep walking down the street. We get to the end of the street, and there was another little boy that was lost. Somebody was already helping him, and they did have a police officer involved. So no, they didn't need our help, but it was just like, wow, why are there so many lost kids here? It was kind of concerning, which is why in this photo, Kaylin is on Ernest's shoulders because we were not taking any kind of chances at all, like none. This is my little boy. There's no way you're getting lost. I will carry you on my shoulders if I have to. So that's kind of what you're seeing here. And then, after the fireworks start, we're sitting there and looking at the fireworks, and some guy, maybe 10 feet from us, started having a seizure. So it's in the middle of the fireworks show. It's like crowded shoulder to shoulder in the downtown part, and they're trying to get paramedics in to get to this guy, all while fireworks are going off. It's pitch black outside because they've got all the lights and stuff kind of dim, so you could see the fireworks. Like, it was crazy. Like, it was just a crazy evening. We weren't even there maybe 3 hours, and 2 lost children, and then a guy having a seizure. It was just crazy. It's like, oh my God, what in the world? So anyways, needless to say, the guy ends up being okay. He had a seizure, and they got the paramedics there by the time the fireworks had ended, and he was fine. The kids found their parents again, or their grandparents. We didn't lose anybody, and we made it back home safely. We had fun, but it was just a bit crazy. So I've titled this one Fourth Fun. And since I have so much going on this layout, I don't really make the title very large. I just put it on this top 3x4 card, add a heart on the top. I layered a label behind it, and it's just kind of a muted title, not very large. You could probably say there are other things on here that are the title, like Forever Family, or So Many Details, or whatever. You could pick any number of the phrases that are on here and make it the title. But I really like how this layout turned out. I have a lot on here, and then I'm marking off the things. So I cross out just okay, not good, and a doozy. That's what those say. Excuse me. So I'll cross out the 3 bottom ones, and I check the 3 top ones on that left card that says this was. So I checked incredible, awesome, and so fun, because we really did have a lot of fun. I'm just adding some enamel dots here. I've got a number of things on this layout. I'm going to put some still photos at the end so you can get a closer look at it. But this pretty much finishes off this layout. Adding just a few more enamel dots here and there. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this layout. Also subscribe so you can see the other layouts that I'm going to complete with my October stash kit. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good day. Bye.